Spin-off! Is there any word more thrilling to the human soul?
It's been stated many times that Frasier is not only one of the best spin-offs, but also one of the best standalone sitcoms. I've seen the show all the way through at least 3 or 4 times, and as a massive fan of the show, and with the recent 25th anniversary, I thought I'd add my opinion on why Frasier is the best spin-off of all time. When compared to a show like Joey, it's easy to see which is the superior programme. Joey continues from the success of Friends by selecting one of the main characters from the original show and throwing him into a different city, much like Frasier did. However, when the Friends spin-off was announced, not many people were shocked that Joey, as a fan favourite, was the character of choice for a spin-off. But when the Cheers spin-off was announced to be following around Frasier Crane, many people were shocked as he wasn't one of the more explored characters in Cheers, which in turn allowed the writers of Frasier a lot of freedom to develop the character. Which brings me to another reason why Frasier was far more successful than Joey, and that's character development. Frasier is developed into a smart, well-rounded character, whereas Joey stays the same as he was on Friends, a stupid womanizer that likes food.
Food. No sex. Food. Sex. Food. I don't know. Oh God, I want both. I want girls on bread.
And you can't really base that many creative stories around these character traits. Don't get me wrong, Joey isn't as bad as everyone makes out, and you can still enjoy it as a Friends fan, but it's just not as brilliant as Frasier. Frasier is able to separate itself from Cheers in a pretty seamless way. When the show begins, there aren't that many references to Cheers, and obviously Frasier is a much different show, as it doesn't take place entirely within a pub. This makes it easy to jump into Frasier, without any prior knowledge of its predecessor, and it doesn't alienate people who haven't watched Cheers before. Yes, there are references to the show and cameo appearances, but you don't necessarily have to have watched Cheers to enjoy Frasier. The show has excellent supporting characters. Frasier's brother Niles is a pompous intellectual psychiatrist who analyses every emotion he has. Frasier is able to bounce off Niles in such a way that he won't be able to with any other characters, because they are so similar, which makes for some hilarious moments. Juxtaposed with their father Martin, who is the polar opposite of his 2 sons, and has more of an easygoing approach to life, which creates some interesting dialogues between the characters. The supporting characters are so strong that there are some episodes that barely even include the title character. Unlike other spin-offs, which normally follow a similar if not exact same formula as the shows they are spin-offs from, Frasier is an amazing sitcom in its own right, which as I mentioned earlier differs vastly from Cheers. The premise of the show is actually interesting and isn't just hey look it's that guy from the other show. The show has different varieties of comedy such as physical, subtle, dry humour and others. Frasier is able to pull off these different styles of comedy with ease, which creates a dynamic show that isn't just set up punchline laugh, etc. One of the types of humour I think the show pulls off well is intellectual humour. Frasier and Niles will often make references to opera, classical music, wine and other high society things. And what I think is done well is that if you get the references, great, you can enjoy the joke. However, if you don't get the references, the joke is still funny because you kind of get to laugh at Frasier and Niles for making these ridiculous references in normal conversation with someone like the father who clearly also doesn't understand the references.
What? Well, you said you were getting me a Sherlock Holmes outfit. He didn't wear a bowler.
Well, they were all out of Sherlock Holmes, so I put together something else for you. Don't worry, it's another detective. Tonight, you'll be Lord Peter Wimsey.
Who the hell's that?
He's a celebrated bon vivant sleuth from a series of novels by Dorothy L. Sayers.
Well, I'm not going anywhere where I have to tell people my name's Whimsy.
While Frasier does have its fair share of funny moments, it also has its fair share of serious and heart-wrenching moments that sometimes come out of nowhere and you'll find yourself choking up.
I want the chair I was sitting in the night you called me to tell me I had a grandson. I want the chair I was in all those nights when your mother used to wake me up with a kiss after I'd fallen asleep in front of the television. You know, I still fall asleep in it. And every once in a while, when I wake up, I still expect your mother to be there ready to lead me off to bed. Oh, never mind. It's only a chair.
There are some great moments in the show with Frasier and his father Martin, and while they're entirely different characters and they don't always understand each other, they still love each other and still try to make an effort to take an interest in each other's interests. Writers are able to keep up a good balance of funny and serious moments, which definitely leads to Frasier being one of the best spin-offs and sitcoms I've ever personally watched. In conclusion, the main reason I think the series succeeded is because it doesn't rely too heavily on the success of Cheers. It becomes its own show, and Frasier does change a lot from the character he was in Cheers. We are introduced to the Crane family, and learn a lot more about the character of Frasier through this. We fall in love with all the supporting characters, and we fall in love with Frasier all over again.
She's such a groovy lady. She makes my heart go hidey-hatey. She is the chick I spend my nights dreaming of.